In the beginning, everybody learned at the foot of the master, the apprentice program. You found someone who knew something, and you went to them and you said, teach me. And they would teach you, and eventually, whether it took 6 months or 6 years, one day they would say, you are now a master craftsman, or a master this, or a master that. And you would go off and you would find your own apprentices, and that's how people learned forever. Highly personalized, one-on-one, maybe one-on-two. But what happened over time was that there became so many people who wanted to learn, and there weren't enough masters to apprentice them all, and people wanted to learn fast, and knowledge was changing. And so they created this relatively new concept called school, where lots of people went to get to a place, and a instructor who was the expert would teach to all of them at the same time. And we had the one-room schoolhouse, and we had local schools, all the way up to 500-person lecture halls in universities. Nobody thinks that that is the optimal way to learn, but it is, in many respects, a very economic way to learn. So schools were an economic response to educating more people while they had a labor shortage of people who knew anything. About 30 years ago, or maybe a little longer than that, along came this new invention called computer-based training, where the thought was the computer could teach one person, and so it would be that one-on-one again. And it's been around for about 30 years, and really it hasn't had much to show for it until the advent of the internet. And there's a lot of reasons for that that are mostly technical. But the internet really exploded this whole concept of computer-based training. We now call it e-learning, and allows individuals to go online and learn at their own pace what they want to learn in the sequence they want to learn it, the way they want to learn it. And so we're back to, or we're trying to get back to, this one-on-one personalized view of learning. The problem is, well, there are a number of problems. The problem is we create these online courses and we assume that everybody needs the same course. So while it's not 500 people in the lecture room learning from one instructor, there's 500 individuals in front of a computer learning from the same course. And so personalization has to go further than where it is now. And what we're looking at now is saying, well, if the computer or the system or the technology knows me, perhaps it will present to me a configuration or a structure of learning that's different from you or from anybody else. So each person will learn in a different way, different levels of content, depending on their needs, what they already know going in, what they have to know, how much time they have, etc. So it's not just the one-on-one relationship, but it's a customized or personalized one-on-one. The learning that I get is not the same as the learning you get because you and I are different. And we're starting to do some work in that area by customizing learning. And we're also taking personalization to another level, which basically says, instead of the instructional program knowing me and organizing itself for my personal needs, what I'm going to do is tell the computer who I am, and it's going to configure itself based upon what it knows about me. So in other words, it's not 5 people or 500 people seeing a different view of the same course. It's now 5 people or 500 people seeing different content altogether. So if I'm a computer programmer who's interested in learning Java, I'm going to see stuff about Java. And if I'm a computer programmer learning about another language, I'll see that. And the computer and the systems and the technology know me well enough, have my profile, that they can configure on the fly a learning and development program for me. The ultimate level of personalization, I think, is when we take the computer delivered material, the classroom delivered material, websites, other expertise, libraries, books even in libraries, all the different resources, newspapers, magazines, television, radio, all of our information sources, and we combine them all in a very unique way for that unique individual. And we've heard the term blended learning. Everybody's talking about blended learning. People tend to define blended learning as a mixture of classroom and online training. Well, that's a very narrow definition. To be totally personalized, the blending has to be more robust. It has to blend in informational websites. It has to blend in experiences that you have. It has to blend in experts that you talk to, peers that you work with, communities of practice. True blending is a very robust and very broad kind of concept. So when you take that broad blended learning definition and the ability of technology to manipulate it to your specific need, you're really getting into a really exciting area of personalized learning that I think is going to be extremely beneficial to everybody in terms of helping people learn, lowering the costs of learning, making learning more robust, et cetera.